from your local news leader.
Traveling to a new destination can certainly be a challenge.
But a family in our community is taking the traveling world by storm. Mark and Jocelyn Wolters are joining us this morning. Good morning. How are you today? Thanks for being here. So you all travel as a family.
Yeah.
We definitely do.
We definitely do.
We drag our kids all over the world with us all of the time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And Mark, this kind of got started. You have a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So talk about that a little bit, how your interest in traveling began.
So, well, the interest in traveling started years ago, and I've been doing this since I was in high school, basically studying abroad and stuff like that. Actually went to Illinois and studied abroad then, and later on in life, I was studying in Italy, or I was actually learning Italian in Italy, and I saw these the blogs, the guides were all basically rehashing the same things and telling people all the good stuff. I'm like, people need to know the good and the bad. So we started making these 5 Love and Hates, and actually some of my early videos, Giles, we were engaged, and she was going to be moving to Portugal, and I wanted to be more prepared, so I started making these videos like how to learn Portuguese in Lisbon. So I'm like, here's the supermarket, so I'd be like filming at the market, so she'd learn some of the words and stuff like that.
I knew where I was going to go shopping.
Yeah, so she was ready to go, so we all started that way, and then, you know, we have Caleb and Liam, and so we're like, well, let's take them with us, let's show them the world too.
And a lot of people think that when you have kids, that means maybe you can't travel anymore, or maybe it's very stressful, so you want to leave the kids at home. But why is it important to travel as a family?
It sounds like it's going to be really stressful, but seeing the world through your kids' eyes is just absolutely amazing. I remember the first time Caleb saw the Mona Lisa, he was like, that's all it was. He was like, yes. And then he was like, oh, she's really small. You get a different perspective.
A whole different perspective. And what's great is when you go to some of these places again, like I've been to a lot of these places a lot of times, but when you go with the kids, it's like you see it all again for the first time. And there's things you don't notice because your kids will be like, oh, did you notice this? I'm like, I had no idea. Because they see something from a completely different perspective. And it's just been a wonderful experience taking our kids. And you're right. People, I mean, I'll see people on social media like, oh, it's like they got their pregnancy stick. Like, oh, might as well burn the passport because I can never travel again. I'm like, are you crazy?
But you can.
You can.
I mean, pack light. And, life is going to go on just the same as it does at home, except that you're not at home. But wherever you go, there are kids living and thriving. And so why is it any different? Why can't your kids do that too?
Sure.
Right?
When you bring the kids, though, it's going to be probably a little more expensive. So we want to give
more
some people
tickets to pay for.
Right?
Yes.
Exactly. So budget tips for us, for families listening?
One thing, I think the biggest thing you look at is apartment rentals versus hotels. Now, if you're traveling in the U.S., you get a double room in the U.S., it's this big room with 2 big beds. You can fit like 19 people in there kind of stuff. But a double room in a European hotel is really for 2 people. So it's like 2 single beds. Like our buddies from housing, like I wish some of the hotels we stayed in were as big as the dorms they have here, okay? And so what you have to realize is sometimes when you got your kids, it's a better idea economically and for the family to actually stay in an apartment and do apartment rentals because you have more space. And then think about it, like you and me adults, we can go all day seeing sights, but kids after 2 hours of seeing a museum, you can't do 10 museums with a kid.
No.
So it's like, you know what, let's do some stuff in the morning, then we'll go back to the hotel for the middle of the day, have lunch there so you can save some money. I mean, going from 100 euros for a family of 4 eating at a restaurant in Paris to, 15 from the local market. Like right there, you're starting to save enough money just by going home for lunch. And I think that's a really big thing there.
It also gives the kids and you a really great cultural experience because going to a market is something that we all do no matter where we are in the world.
Right.
And so getting to see that, with the kids and seeing what's different is a really cool experience too.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
I want to travel now, guys.
Yeah.
Do you have any suggestions?
Oh, if you're traveling with your kids, we have a lot of suggestions. Go travel. Whoever's watching, go travel with your kids. It is a fantastic thing.
Sure.
Because what's great is you can actually travel with grandparents, yourself, these things, but it really brings you tighter together as a family because you're having these experiences. It's no longer just what we have with school. You have things to talk about over dinner, even you see stuff.
A lot of shared memories.
A lot of shared memories that way.
Outside the normal realm, right?
Yeah.
But travel doesn't have to be something that's far away either.
Yeah.
Getting your kids used to sitting on a plane for 7 hours, you might just drive, 3 hours down and take them to the City Museum in St. Louis. Or, there are a lot of places in this area that we can go and take our kids to, even if it's just Hardy's Reindeer Ranch. It's a great place, and it's an adventure, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be international travel.
And the more you kind of prepare your kids for it and you're doing these things, the more they get used to it. So that's why, we'll get on planes, people see us with 2 kids, and our kids are in 7th and 3rd grade, so they're a little bit older now, but when they're little, you see people go, oh no, there's kids. And I would say 99% of the time, our kids are better than most of the adults on there. So we've had it where parents say, "Oh, your kids did so well." I'm like, "Yeah, they did better than you." You know. And the thing is, but it's because they've been traveling. I mean, they had their first flights at 6 weeks and stuff like that. And so once they get used to it, it's like any kid. They like the routine. They know how it's going to work. They're going to be fine. So if you get them used to it, even if it's just taking a little local trip, it makes a big difference.
Jeez.
Cool.
Guys,
Thanks so much.
Yeah,
No
keep us
problem.
posted on your next trip and
We
send us
shall.
some pictures.
Absolutely.
We will.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for having us on.
Sure, definitely. We'll be right back after this, guys.